The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, March 11, reveal that the captor will force Phyllis Summer's risky choice while Summer Newman's scheme pays off. Here's what Y&R fans can expect in Tuesday's action-packed episode. For starters, Phyllis will have to decide whether to trust Sharon Newman's riddle-solving skills. The kidnapper may want Phyllis in a situation where she has to have faith in Sharon despite their history. Based on the clues, Sharon will remain convinced a special bottle of water contains the antidote for the poison Phyllis seemingly ingested. That said, no one can be sure of anything when they're playing this crazy guessing game. Phyllis will fear this bottle could make things worse if Sharon is wrong, but she'll probably choose to trust her in the end and gulp it down. When Phyllis' symptoms quickly begin to subside, it could leave her a little more grateful to have Sharon around. The captor may be pleased over this development, since the goal still seems to be bringing Sharon and Phyllis together. Phyllis and Sharon will make some updates to their strategy in the coming episodes, so we'll bring you more predictions on what's ahead. In the meantime, Summer will do some scheming and find a way to ruin Kyle Abbott's night with Claire Newman. Although Claire and Kyle were hoping to have a romantic evening together, Summer will manage to get in the way. There's a good chance Claire will suspect Summer knows exactly what she's doing. Claire may get annoyed over Kyle buying whatever Summer's selling to lure him away from their date night. Regardless, Kyle will cancel or at least delay his plans with Claire. It'll bring some tension in Claire and Kyle's relationship, which will certainly work to Summer's advantage since she wants Kyle back. As for Holden Novak, he'll find Claire drinking alone at the GTAC bar and decide to join her. Holden will be his usual charming self and may strike up a friendship with Claire, perhaps one that could eventually become something more. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Summer will do everything in her power to tear Claire and Kyle apart, so stay tuned for any bad news that's brewing. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless scoop for Monday, March 10 reveals Phyllis Summer's only hope for survival will be Sharon Newman. Also coming up, Nick Newman and Billy Abbott will discuss where Sharon and Phyllis could be. Plus, Audra Charles will impart some information to Nate Hastings. Y&R spoilers tease Audra will tell Nate that she ran into Holden Novak at Crimson Lights. He told her he needed a friend, so she's humoring him. She'll ask Nate if he believes her, and he'll say he does. Then she'll ask if he wants to hear what she learned about his half-brother. He'll say sure, but suggest they head to his place. Nate will say Amy Lewis is in Chicago with the oncologist for some tests. Y&R Daily Scoop. Nick's worried about his missing baby mamas. Once they arrive, Audra will say Holden and Damien Kane used to be best friends, but their relationship changed once Damien took over the companies. He now treats his friend like an employee first. She'll say Holden also admitted Damien has a bad temper when he's been crossed. Audra will warn Nate that Damien may not be the man he was hoping he'd be, and she doesn't want to see him or Amy hurt. Then she'll get a text from Holden and ask Nate how he wants her to proceed. Meanwhile, Nick will arrive at Billy's place, and he'll say there's been no sign of Phyllis or Sharon. For every second that goes by, our worst suspicions are being confirmed. He'll add, there is something wrong here, and Billy will agree. They'll sit down and have a beer together. Billy will say when Phyllis wasn't answering his calls, he thought he made a mistake hiring her. But Nick will tell him she wouldn't do this to her kids, and neither would Sharon. He'll add that he's really beginning to think they've both been kidnapped. So, Billy will ask him a question. How sure are you that Ian Ward is dead? Nick will say he saw him get shot. He also called the morgue, and they confirmed he was cremated. Billy will say the fact they both called one person, at the same time, on burner phones, makes him think they're together. Nick will tell him everything is starting to take its toll. He just got his family back on track, and now this. Phyllis just loves to give me a hard time about the fact that I always ride off to Sharon's rescue, he'll say. But she conveniently forgets I do the same thing for her. Billy will say he wants to help, and Nick will appreciate it. Then Nick will get a call from ranch security. Not surprisingly, they'll have nothing. Young and the restless scoop. Sharon tells Phyllis to drink the water. In the dingy basement, Phyllis will do jumping jacks and lunges, sucking back water as she goes. She'll tell Sharon she solved the latest riddle. What is it? Sharon will ask. But Phyllis will say she's not telling her. If the game is winner takes it all, then she'll be the one to go home. How about you stop playing the role of the mean girl and grow the hell up? Sharon will reply. So Phyllis will say the answer is forgiveness. Whoever is behind this abduction is interested in the two of us making amends, Sharon will say. But Phyllis will tell her she'd rather die than ever say and mean that she forgives her. If the goal is to forgive each other, that is definitely not going to happen on my end. But Sharon will ask her what if it's the only way out of there. I could just lie, but I think the freak is going to know I'm lying, she'll reply. Suddenly, Phyllis will clutch her stomach and tell Sharon she's really nauseous. Sharon will sit her down on the couch and Phyllis will say maybe there's something in the water or the food. Sharon will call out to their captor and say Phyllis needs medical attention. Then the siren will go off. I think you'd better start looking for the antidote, he'll say through the speaker. She seems to be unwilling to progress through the stages as agreed. Finally, Sharon will start searching for the antidote, and she'll ask for a clue. I'm the beginning of the end, so you can't see me, their captor will reply. So Sharon will start looking at the water bottles and find one with a sticker on the lid. She'll say she's almost positive it's the antidote. Sharon will tell Phyllis to drink it, but she won't be so sure. The Young and the Restless recap for Monday, March 10, reveals that poisoned Phyllis Summers will need an antidote, so Sharon Newman will carry out a frantic search. In captivity, Sharon will mull over the latest riddle and grow frustrated when Phyllis refuses to share the answer she figured out. After some bickering, Phyllis will finally admit that forgiveness is what's worth everything and costs nothing. However, Phyllis will find the concept ridiculous and will argue that she'd rather die in there than ever genuinely forgive Sharon. Phyllis will also do some exercises and guzzle a bottle of water, but she'll become seriously ill soon after. Once Phyllis complains about the nausea, she'll curl up on the sofa and admit it feels like her stomach is on fire. Sharon will beg the captor for help, so the distorted voice will suggest she'd better start looking for the antidote. The kidnapper will contend that perhaps Phyllis is dying, and he's making good on his earlier threat since she's not cooperating. Sharon will push for a clue, so the captor will hint that it's the beginning and the end, though you can't see it. After searching all around the room, Sharon will realize water may be the answer. Water is clear, and it's what started Phyllis' symptoms, so Sharon will think it could be what ends them too. There'll be a bottle marked with a sticker, so Sharon will make a prediction about it being what Phyllis needs and urge her to drink it. At Billy Abbott's place on Monday's I and R episode, Nick Newman will stop by and admit there have been no new updates on Sharon and Phyllis. Billy will wonder how certain Nick is that Ian Ward is dead, so Nick will admit he called the morgue and got confirmation that Ian was cremated. That'll leave Billy worried there might be another madman behind the kidnapping, but Nick won't think they know that for sure either. After Billy urges Nick to take a break from the search and have a beer with him, Nick will open up about how difficult all this has been. Although Nick will make it clear this isn't going to be a regular bonding thing, Billy will seem like he appreciates the moment anyway. At the GVAC, Nate Hastings will assure Audra Charles that he trusts her, but he'll also know it can be tough to open up about everything regarding an old flame. Audra will reassure Nate and eventually head back to his apartment, where she'll recap what she learned from Holden Novak. After Audra talks about Holden seeming resentful of Damien Kane bossing him around, she'll mention Damien's hot temper. Nate will worry about too many people questioning Damien and scaring him off, but Audra will think it's wise to be cautious and gather all the facts. Audra will also tease Nate about him maybe being a little jealous and suggest it's proof that their relationship is important to him. Nate will hope he doesn't need to act jealous to let Audra know that and will give her a kiss. After Holden texts Audra and apologizes for bailing on lunch, he'll admit he still needs a friend. Audra will show the message to Nate, who will text Holden back for her and insist that he's got one. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Holden could remain a valuable source of Damien information, so stay tuned for all the stunning news ahead. The Young and the Restless spoilers for March 10 to 14 focus on fierce fighters, master manipulators, and all-star team-ups. Next week on The Young and the Restless, Sharon and Phyllis are MIA. They have been gone for a significant amount of time, and nobody knows where they are. Early next week, look for an unlikely pair to team up to find them. When Nick reluctantly joins forces with Billy, where will their investigation lead? Regarding investigations, Chance continues to work on finding any clues that will help him find Sharon and Phyllis. In fact, by the end of the week, Chance shares a lead with Billy and Nick. Where will this lead take them? Prisoner drama. Meanwhile, Phyllis and Sharon aren't exactly experiencing kumbaya moments. They may not even have time to clash because they'll be busy attempting to escape this demented escape room. They will have to dig deep to rely on each other to succeed. If they don't, they will surely fail, and who knows what the consequences of their failure will be. At the end of the week, Sharon and Phyllis fall into a trap, which will result in the two fighting for survival. Will this development evolve into a life-or-death situation? Odds and ends. In other news, Victor questions Adam's decision-making. Guess the days of Victor doubting Adam and undermining his son aren't over. This may be because of Billy and the creation of Abbott Communications. Is Victor questioning Adam's killer instinct? How will Adam respond? Elsewhere, teasers suggest Summer causes a rift between Kyle and Claire. She happened to overhear that Jack and Diane would babysit Harrison, enabling Kyle and Claire to go out on a date. Does Summer somehow ruin this moment for them? Are we sure that Summer and Victor aren't working together to mess with Kyle and Claire's relationship? Finally, in the video preview for next week, we finally get to see Tracy and Alan. So it may not come as a surprise to hear that Tracy shares surprising news with Jack. Maybe she will relay a big decision she made, like whether she wants to marry the doctor or break up with him. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, March 7 imply some major moments as Genoa City kicks off another week. Someone gets stood up, while a character moves in on another's girl, and a schemer fakes an illness. Time to dive in and see what kind of drama will unfold during Monday's show. Claire Newman gets ditched. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday's show hint that Claire Newman will get ditched by Kyle Abbott. The two had date night plans during the Friday, March 7 show, where Diane Abbott agreed to watch Harrison Abbott so her son could have some alone time with his gal pal. With that said, as Kyle was firming date night plans with Claire on the phone at Crimson, Summer Newman was listening on. Will she do something to sabotage their night together? Holden Novak moves in during the Young and the Restless preview video for the week of March 10 to 14. Claire is seen at the GCAC, looking deflated as she orders a drink. It sounds like Kyle will cancel, for whatever reason, which is a shame as Claire looks as if she put a lot of effort into her outfit, hair, and makeup. During the clip, Claire takes a sip of her martini, as she mutters that James Bond must be tougher than her. Of course, Holden Novak walks by, noting that he doubts it. Looks like he'll try to flirt with the newest Newman member, so will these two end up becoming friends? Phyllis Summers tries to pull a fake out. Over to Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers. fans will see them continue to deal with their kidnapping situation at the abandoned psychiatric facility. During a Y&R preview clip, it looks as if Phyllis will get a wave of nausea. But is this real, or is she possibly pulling a fake illness to stir the pot? Perhaps the mysterious captor will worry about Phyllis' health, which could bring on a release or escape. Phyllis is a master manipulator who's desperate to get out of her current predicament, so anything is possible. She might not feel well, but what if this is all an act? Then again, there is always a chance that the captor has tried to drug both Phyllis and Sharon, which could bring on an upset stomach, so only time will tell. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, March 10, reveal that Holden Novak will flirt with Claire Newman after Summer Newman most likely sabotages Kyle Abbott's plans. After overhearing Kyle on the phone with Claire, Summer may make it her mission to interfere in their evening together. It's clear that Summer is jealous and wants Kyle for herself, so it makes sense for her to resort to some sabotage games. Summer might manipulate the situation so that Diane Jenkins Abbott and Jack Abbott don't end up babysitting Harrison Abbott after all. Since Summer is supposed to handle an important Tokyo work call, she might make it so Kyle has to bail on his evening with Claire and put Harrison to bed. Then again, Summer might create some other emergency diversion that demands Kyle's attention. One way or another, it looks like Claire will be forced to fly solo when she orders a martini at the GCAC bar. After Claire tries out her drink, she'll mutter to herself about it being strong. Once Claire hints about James Bond being tougher than her, Holden will appear and express doubt about that. It looks like Holden will be dealing with a change of plans as well, since he was supposed to fly back to Los Angeles ASAP. Holden's flight delay could give him an opportunity to get to know Claire with a flirty exchange. It might be interesting if Kyle deals with whatever hurdle Summer causes and joins Claire later. Kyle might react with some jealousy if he witnesses Holden turning on the charm with Claire and making her laugh. If Summer picks up on Holden's potential crush on Claire, she might even decide to play matchmaker. Regardless, Summer won't give up on reuniting with Kyle, so stay tuned for updates on any future schemes. As for Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers, they'll have to answer more riddles at the abandoned psychiatric facility soon enough. That'll bring new opportunities to clash and reflect on the past. At one point, Phyllis will suddenly get quite ill as Sharon questions her. Since Phyllis will seemingly get hit with a wave of nausea, will that happen because of the kidnapper? It's possible the captor will manage to drug Phyllis into feeling this way, but it's also possible she'll pretend she's sick and fake her collapse. It might be a trick in hopes of convincing the kidnapper that Phyllis needs medical help. Whatever the case, our Y&R predictions point to Phyllis and Sharon's nightmare getting worse before it gets better. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sharon and Phyllis will keep working to find out who's responsible for their ordeal, so stick with us for more news on the mastermind. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates reveal what might be the ultimate whodunit, and the possible return of a villain who hasn't been seen in a long time. This villainous seems to tick every one of the boxes to be the as yet unrevealed perpetrator who imprisoned Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers. The easy answer is Ian Ward, or possibly a not-so-dead Jordan, or both. Viewers will remember the recent exit of Ray Wise as Ian Ward from the show's canvas, with a shocking resurrection in the back of an ambulance. As for his paramour Jordan, she appeared to be dead, but she was never shown in the morgue. Oh, soap viewers all know what that might mean, but yet these clues could be red herrings. Instead, another Y&R villainess who hasn't been seen in years might be the one who kidnapped Sharon and Phyllis, and to boot, she was last seen in a mental hospital. Plus, she's related to the late Heather Stevens and could want a twisted revenge. Straight up psycho, sick in the head. This sounds like Patty Williams. Sharon and Phyllis have landed in a precarious situation. These two rivals have been abducted and now must join forces to survive. As they struggle to break free, viewers are left speculating about the mastermind behind their kidnapping. The simultaneous disappearance of Sharon and Phyllis raises eyebrows and ignites theories. It appears that their abductor has a vendetta against them. If it's not Jordan and Ian, then who? The writers of Y and R are known for their unexpected twists, and this plotline promises to deliver some jaw-dropping revelations. The most shocking of all could be the unexpected return of Patty Williams as the one holding Sharon and Phyllis captive. Could it be Patty, avenging her brother's pain and her niece's death? Patty has a background with both women. She and Sharon were previously patients at Fairview. Furthermore, Patty poisoned Phyllis' daughter Summer Newman to keep her away from Jack Abbott. If Patty is the one who kidnapped them, what could her reason be? It might relate to her niece Heather's death. Even though Sharon was cleared of any wrongdoing, Patty might still blame her for Heather's murder. Additionally, Phyllis was responsible for bringing Heather back from Portugal to reconnect with Daniel Romalotti. Does Patty live in the abandoned mental health facility? It's been a good many years since Paul Williams even heard anything of his sister, which begs the question if she's either escaped or is living in the abandoned facility. As for motives, Patty may think that if Phyllis hadn't interfered, Heather would still be alive in Portugal. Heather's death greatly affected Patty's brother, Paul, who had a heart attack as a result. Patty's actions against Sharon and Phyllis could be a form of revenge for Paul's pain. With Candace Young on vacation this week, I'm stepping in to write the Young and Restless column. And I'll be honest, it's been a while since I watched an entire week's worth of episodes because, frankly, I've just not found the featured storylines grabbing my attention. This week, however, a story did exactly that, only to then, like the characters around which it revolves, go completely missing. Riddle me this. To say that this show is not particularly action-packed would be an understatement. For quite some time, it's heavily invested in business storylines, apparently thinking we're a lot more interested in who's running what company than we are. But the kidnapping of Phyllis and Sharon definitely caught my attention. It involves two dynamic characters and a mystery person who's using their history against them. I'm all in. So imagine my surprise when the women were given a new riddle to solve on Tuesday, only to completely vanish for the rest of the week. How is something involving this story not the Friday cliffhanger? Make it make sense, people. Meet the Bickersons. Much of this week was spent on petty squabbling between people who've been battling against one another for years. Decades in some cases. Billy and Adam butted heads over their dueling communications companies because, again, someone at this show thinks we're really invested in who comes out on top in the battle of the bigwigs. Then there were Jack and Victor having the same fight they've been having for so many years that they dragged the long-dead ghost of Jack's dad into the ring. But hey, fighting with Jack gives Victor something to do other than check notes, interfere in the lives of his granddaughters. Both of these activities are certainly within the character makeup of the mogul, but it all has a been there, done that feel. Here's hoping we really are getting a new threat, as indicated by the endless name-dropping of Aristotle Dumas. It might be fun to see all of the local power players, including Jack and Victor, work together against a common enemy. Show 'em how it's done. I'd like for the folks at Young and Restless to check out the literal new kid on the block, Beyond the Gates. During its first 2 weeks, that show has managed to become must-see TV for my household. And there are more than a few things it could teach the rest of the CBS daytime lineup. Like what? The pacing, for starters. The past 2 weeks in Fairmont Crest have seen a wedding, an attempted murder, and a threesome, for starters, while Genoa City folks argued over their companies. And although the majority of Gates' characters are wealthy, their conversations aren't about anything as trivial as who'll be the new CEO. The show also has a whole slew of have-nots whom every single person in the audience can relate to. I could go on, but you get the point. Young and Restless was the first soap I became addicted to a whole lot of years ago. For context, a supposedly dead Catherine was haunting Suzanne, wandering the halls in a diaphanous gown singing, "I'm gonna live till I die." Hashtag AFKYK. I have loved it for longer than Jack and Victor have been feuding, so I know what this show can be when it's firing on all cylinders. That's the show I'd love to get hooked on again. Given that Beyond the Gates has been doing boffo numbers in the all-important ratings, it's time for someone at CBS to recognize what is, and what's not, working at its other soaps. Should they need help in that department, call me. I'll happily offer an assist. Random thoughts. Asterisk, why in the world did Kyle and Summer leave the GCAC, where they were both picking up food, and then, after saying they were going to the office, go to Crimson Lights? And why, if Nikki was having lunch with Claire and a business associate, were the ladies seated at a table clearly set for two? Asterisk, I'm not sure how to feel about Amy's new doctor. The show used the fact that she's dying to introduce Damien. I've sort of been assuming that her dying would create drama between him and Nate, so her getting a miracle cure, which is the direction we seem to be heading, would be yet another case of this show saying, no, that would be too much drama. Let's back away quickly. More. Preview for the week of March 10 to 14. Asterisk, I'm worried about this big renovation over at the Abbott Mansion. We all remember the Chancellor Estate disaster of a few years back. Also, I'd like to recommend that the show stop spending money on new sets, the Newman Ranch, Billy's Pad, now this, and focus on what's unfolding within them. Remember, when Hamlet set out to capture the conscience of the king, the play, not its setting, was the thing with which he endeavored to do so. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that it'll be game over for Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers soon. The captor's scary twist will bring a fight to survive, so let's discuss what Phyllis and Sharon will be up against. From the very beginning, Sharon and Phyllis' kidnapper has been upfront about the life-threatening stakes of this situation. Phyllis and Sharon were told that the game was all that mattered and that the prize was staying alive. However, it looks like Sharon and Phyllis are about to go rogue. That could be a mistake since the captor's pretty hung up on the very specific rules that have been put in place. After Phyllis gets poisoned in captivity, that'll suddenly make the disturbing nature of this game even more evident. Sharon will solve a riddle and find the antidote for Phyllis, but they'll both realize they need a real escape plan ASAP. Unfortunately, Phyllis and Sharon are about to get caught in a trap according to Y and R spoilers. The captor may test Sharon and Phyllis in some way, but they may fail that test and ultimately forfeit the game. It's easy to imagine the kidnapper insisting this is game over since Phyllis and Sharon couldn't obey the rules. Sharon and Phyllis may end up in panic mode if losing the game triggers some terrible consequences. Could there be an explosive device planted in that room or something along those lines? The countdown might begin after Sharon and Phyllis land in that trap we mentioned. Whatever the case, the Young and the Restless spoilers say Phyllis and Sharon will find themselves in a frantic fight to survive. Joining forces will be more important than ever for Sharon and Phyllis as they try to hang on long enough to get out of this mess. Of course, it's possible these life-threatening circumstances will still be part of the game. It could be some twisted fake-out from the mastermind of this operation, just to ramp up the pressure and force Phyllis to truly be a team with Sharon. Either way, Sharon and Phyllis will certainly believe they're in more danger than ever. Our predictions point to some jaw-dropping moments as Phyllis and Sharon try to make sense of all this, so stay tuned for updates on all the wild news to come. It's the place to be for great Young and the Restless spoilers, predictions, news, and updates, so visit us regularly for more My and Our info. The Young and the Restless spoilers document that Summer Newman is very concerned about her mother, and she should be. The oddity of Phyllis Summers leaving town without a word and making contact through a burner phone raised everyone's eyebrows. But the fact that Phyllis hasn't replaced the smartphone she claimed to have lost with another while on a supposed business trip is a cause for worry. Kyle Abbott considers Summer a close friend, so he's naturally offering his support. Claire Newman is caught in between. She knows that Summer still pines for Kyle and likely wants him back. But this is Claire's first relationship, so she's trying to calm her mind. Nikki Newman offers good advice. Nikki Newman only plays favorites regarding romantic love. Victor Newman is her only true blue heartthrob. However, any of her children's children, meaning her grandchildren, are seen as one. So she quickly allayed Claire's concerns that Nikki would take a favorable view of Summer over her, telling Claire that she should feel good about her developing relationship with Kyle is right. It's also Nikki's honest assessment. Unlike her beloved husband, Nikki will give Claire's first-time love match a chance. Claire Newman seems destined to fail with Kyle Abbott. Claire's gut feeling might prove out for various reasons. While Kyle is not in love with Summer, he has loved her for many years and they share a child. Summer's willingness to adopt a son Kyle had through another woman, Tara Locke, was terrific. It reinforced the depth of Summer's heart and her love for Kyle. As devoted audience members recall, she did not end her marriage. Kyle made the rushed, foolish decision after Summer withheld information about Phyllis faking her death. The above makes Phyllis' unusual disappearance an intriguing part of the current storyline. Summer can't focus on her unresolved feelings for Kyle until her mother is home safe. Phyllis Summers working with Sharon Newman. While the plot is odd, Stafford and Sharon Case's pairing is fantastic. These two great actors are killing it in their one-room setting. The apparent former hospital is the location where an unknown assailant kidnapped and is holding both ladies. Whoever that person may be, Ian Ward seems like a good possibility, and his knowledge of both characters' lives and connected backstories is immense. Soon enough, Phyllis and Sharon will think their way out of the game they've been forced to play, be found or rescued. Soap fans might bet on both ladies powering their escape together in what would be a meaningful and memorable conclusion. That storyline ending will allow Summer to focus on Kyle, with the caveat that she's still fond of and involved with Chance Chancellor, who's working the Phyllis Sharon case. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates tease that wedding crasher chaos may be on the horizon in Genoa City. Could someone throw a wrench into Tracy Abbott and Alan Lawrence's special day? There may be a wedding coming for Alan and Tracy. I&R's sneak peek for the week of March 10 to 14 suggests that a wedding might be in the cards for Alan and Tracy. Their deepening love for one another makes the prospect of marriage seem inevitable, promising a fairy tale ending, at least until the next dramatic twist unfolds. However, in the world of soap operas, weddings often come with unexpected surprises. Could Tracy and Alan's big day be interrupted by an uninvited guest? The possibilities are intriguing, especially considering how unpredictable Y&R can be. Although Martin Laurent was presumed dead after his fall in France, this soap has a knack for defying the odds. Marriage may be on the horizon. The show's sneak peek for the week of March 10 to 14 suggests that a wedding might be in the cards for Alan and Tracy. Their deepening love for one another makes the prospect of marriage seem inevitable, promising a fairy tale ending, at least until the next dramatic twist unfolds. However, in the world of soap operas, weddings often come with unexpected surprises. Could Tracy and Alan's big day be interrupted by an uninvited guest? The possibilities are intriguing, especially considering how unpredictable Y&R can be. Although Martin Laurent was presumed dead after his fall in France, this soap has a knack for defying the odds. Could Martin crash the wedding and create chaos? It would certainly add an intriguing layer to the story if Martin were to rise from the dead and set out to sabotage his twin brother's joy. Given the shocking revelation of Ian Ward still being alive in that ambulance, the possibilities are endless. In Genoa City, the extraordinary is commonplace, making it impossible to dismiss the idea of Martin's return. There was a moment when the show teased the notion of Martin possibly faking his death to deceive Tracy with an Alan impersonation. Although that storyline seems to have been set aside for now, it could very well resurface in the future. Who is this guy, Alan or Martin? What if, despite one twin being truly gone, Tracy is still caught up with the wrong man? If Martin steps back into Alan's shoes, the truth about his identity could unravel during the wedding yet. Let's not overlook other thrilling possibilities for wedding day chaos. Ashley Abbott's alter egos might not be permanently silenced, so imagine the shock if one of them makes a dramatic return at the ceremony. Additionally, Tucker McCall has been mentioned frequently, making it plausible for him to make a surprise appearance, whether it's Street John reprising his role or a recast. Regardless of how it unfolds, we're all hoping for Tracy to find the happiness she deserves. But in the unpredictable world of soap operas, expect the unexpected. Phyllis Summers' next bold move, a shocking twist in Genoa City. Phyllis Summers is about to reclaim her freedom, but what comes next could leave Billy Abbott completely blindsided. The young and the restless fans have witnessed Phyllis behaving strangely in recent episodes, raising suspicions from those closest to her, especially Billy. Billy's growing concern. Billy has always had a complicated history with Phyllis, but he can't shake the feeling that something is seriously wrong this time. Her abrupt disappearance doesn't sit right with him, particularly considering how excited she was to join Abbott Communications and bring Daniel Romalotti Jr. on board. For someone so eager to rebuild her career, suddenly going off the radar makes no sense. That's why Billy's instincts are telling him something isn't adding up, and he's absolutely right. A dangerous game for survival. Unknown to Billy, Phyllis has been taken captive, forced into a sinister mind game alongside Sharon Newman. Their captor has put them through an ordeal neither of them could have imagined, testing their limits and forcing them to confront parts of themselves they'd rather keep buried. Whether Phyllis and Sharon manage to escape on their own, get rescued, or earn their release by playing their captor's twisted game, one thing is certain: freedom is coming. But once Phyllis is back in the real world, how will this traumatic experience change her? Phyllis' perspective shift. Enduring captivity is bound to leave a lasting impact, and Phyllis might just see things in a new light, including her relationship with Sharon. Though the two have been rivals for years, surviving this ordeal together could lead to a new level of understanding, if not a truce. They may never be best friends, but at the very least, they might learn to coexist without tearing each other apart. Beyond Sharon, Phyllis may start appreciating the things she's taken for granted: her children, her career, and perhaps even Billy. Being held hostage might make her realize that life is too short to suppress her true feelings, and she may finally decide to act on them. A bold move that changes everything. With newfound clarity, Phyllis could take an unexpected step, one that completely disrupts Billy's world. Will she confess that she still has lingering feelings for him? Could she impulsively kiss him, making it clear that their story isn't over? If Phyllis chooses to fight for Billy, it could reignite old tensions, particularly with Sally Spectra. A love triangle involving Phyllis, Billy, and Sally could send sparks flying, leading to another fierce battle between these two fiery women. A new chapter for Phyllis. As Phyllis steps back into her life, the aftermath of her captivity will determine her next move. Whether she embraces a new path or falls back into old patterns, one thing is certain: her return won't be quiet. Stay tuned as The Young and the Restless continues to unravel Phyllis' next chapter, and keep an eye out for the twists and turns that will shake up Genoa City. Exciting developments are coming to The Young and the Restless next week, featuring unexpected romance, deception, and a medical crisis that could change everything. Here's what to expect for the week of March 10th. Claire's unexpected encounter. Claire is set for a romantic evening with Kyle at the Genoa City Athletic Club. Diane and Jack, eager to support their son, arrange for Harrison to be taken care of so Kyle can enjoy a night out with Claire. However, Summer, overhearing Kyle's plans, may have her own agenda and could interfere. Meanwhile, Claire, dressed elegantly and waiting for Kyle, finds herself approached by Holden Novak. His sudden interest in her raises questions. Was this a chance encounter, or does he have an ulterior motive? Given his recent involvement with Audra and Damien's strict orders for him to leave town, Holden's presence is suspicious. The bigger question remains, where is Kyle, and did Summer play a role in delaying him? Phyllis in crisis, real or a ruse? Phyllis and Sharon remain captive at the Havenhurst Psychiatric Clinic, their captor yet to be revealed. While their conditions have not been dire, the situation escalates when Phyllis begins experiencing severe stomach pains. Clutching her stomach and struggling with nausea, she alarms Sharon, who pleads for medical help. The nature of Phyllis's condition remains uncertain. Could this be a genuine medical emergency or a ploy to manipulate their captor into letting their guard down? Either way, this incident is likely to trigger a major revelation about who is behind their kidnapping and what their true motives are. A surprise marriage proposal. An unexpected engagement is on the horizon, involving a member of the Abbott family. Jack and Diane witness the moment and express their joy, confirming that this is a significant event. While many fans speculate on possible couples, Tracy Abbott and Alan Laurent seem to be at the center of this development. During a dinner with Jack, Diane, Tracy, and Alan, Tracy confesses her deep happiness with Alan. In response, Alan playfully suggests he would propose immediately if he thought she would accept. Tracy's reaction, a mix of excitement and delight, hints that she might just say yes. With actress Eileen Davidson returning as Ashley Abbott, could this mean a wedding is on the way? Final thoughts. The upcoming week is packed with dramatic twists. Will Claire confront Kyle about his delay? Can Phyllis's sudden illness expose their captor? And will Tracy and Alan's romance lead to a wedding? Stay tuned to The Young and the Restless for all the answers.